Hello, hi, good people. This is Sheeri the Preventionist Show. We are so privileged to be here today. What a wonderful morning. Here we talk about all things disease prevention. We talk about small, doable actions, but making a big difference in health. You know what? We've always said that 80% of diseases are preventable. And remember what, guys? We are saying that you can be ahead of that illness. And today we are so privileged. We have one of the best minds in the region. We have a professor. We have somebody who has been research. We have somebody who has been in academics. We have somebody who has practiced. So we have the best person to tell us, what about prevention? Is it practical? Is it necessary? And guys, I am so excited because this show is going to be so informative. So without further ado, help me welcome none other but Professor Mohamed Karama. A loud of applause. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
I'm actually honored to be in this show to talk about prevention, the importance of prevention in public health. And thank you for the introduction. We will discuss the historical perspective of public health, the changes that have occurred, and what is current problems in public health. I'm actually honored to be in this program.
Asante sana.
Asante.
The honor is ours. So, Prof, when we talk in this country, I know most of the policies, your name is somewhere written there. But I know you began from somewhere. As I said in the introduction, I said you've been in research, you've been in academia, but you have a journey. We all start from somewhere. Maybe we can know who you are, where you began, and this career journey.
Yes. Thank you very much. This is a good opportunity also to discuss the journey, my journey into public health. I started with the Kenya medical training. When I went there, I didn't understand public health very well, but I chose to be there.
Yes.
Because at that time, it was public health inspection.
Okay.
So that inspection and whatever excited me a little. And so I had the opportunity to go there.
Yes.
I was trained and started working with the Ministry of Health in 1973.
Wow, 73.
Yes,
Wow,
as a public health officer.
Yes.
And at that time, we were at the Department of Communicable Diseases and Research.
Yes.
Cambry was not there. So we used to handle research as well as diseases control.
Yes.
So amongst the diseases that we were handling included all the infectious diseases. And at that time, it was common that infectious diseases were much higher than non-communicable diseases. And therefore, we were involved in the different, including zoonotic and whatever. And in 1985, I shifted base and went to Cambry. And at Cambry, I joined, and unfortunately, with a diploma in public health, I was considered as a support staff because I wasn't a scientist. And this triggered my emotion so much to be able to study and be recognized, because at the Ministry of Health, I was a very senior person.
Yeah.
But then when you go to these institutions where people are based on science and whatever.
Yes.
So I started working very hard towards my academic development.
Yes.
I traveled to Japan for 1 year.
Wow.
I was teaching.
Yes, to further your studies.
Yes.
Yes.
And then I came back, did my master's at Kenyatta University. And I have kept a record there that I was able to do a master's in 18 months. And I immediately enrolled for my PhD. And having worked with also the Nagasaki University in Japan, I had attained, when I achieved my PhD, I had also attained the numbers of supervision, the numbers of students from Japan that I supervise in Kenya.
Yes.
And so I was given the associate professor in 2009.
Yes.
Yes. And therefore, that was my history.
Yes.
And I started engaging in, up to now, I have supervised many of our colleagues
Yes.
at master's level and PhD level.
Yeah.
So I was both in research
Yeah.
and in academic.
Okay.
And I'm glad that I have been able to support many of our colleagues
Wow.
to also study and work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That is amazing, Prof.
Yes.
Because your story, it's not only giving us the history where you've come from,
Yes.
but also it's encouraging
Yes.
somebody,
Yes.
a young officer who has just graduated in whatever profession,
Yes.
with resilience, passion, and focus, you can go to any heights that you think about.
Yes.
But now you talked about infectious diseases, you've talked about zoonotic diseases. When you worked as a public health inspector, that is what you used to handle then.
Yes.
We'll be, later in the show, we'll be looking at what used to be and now. Maybe because many people will be watching, you can maybe clarify to us when you talk about infectious diseases and zoonotic diseases, exactly what do you mean?
Yes. Infectious diseases at that time, we had diseases like cholera,
Yeah.
leishmania,
Yeah.
we had malaria,
Yes.
and so on.
Yeah.
And zoonotic infections that were there at that time included also the Marburgs
Yeah.
and rabies,
Yes.
which was a common problem.
Yeah.
And therefore, we were involved in addressing all of them at that point. So we were well exposed
Yes.
to different diseases. Yes.
But that's so amazing because it shows the kind of work that the public health has been able to put in place, because what you've mentioned, maybe it is only two of the conditions that we are still struggling in as a country right now.
Yes.
Maybe cholera, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
and malaria.
Yes.
Those others, I think, significantly, they have reduced.
Yes. But we still have sporadic occurrences
Yeah.
of some of these leishmania in areas like Baringo, West Pokot, parts of Kitui, and so on. We
Yes.
still have some of those diseases, but many of them are targeted for elimination.
Yes.
And therefore, there has been a lot of progress in managing the infectious diseases. Yes. Including malaria also. There's a test for different vaccine and so on. But the times have changed. We have gone into pandemics like
Yeah.
HIV and
Yes.
AIDS and so on. And so public health is still active.
Wow.
And then we have COVID now. These are pandemics
Yeah.
that occur. We have to address them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
So on top of what you're telling us, on top of what used to be there are still more emerging issues, including right now we are hearing in northeastern things like chikungunya.
Yes.
Still, you're telling us prevention is needed and public health is needed, is still not obsolete, is
Yes.
still valid, their
Yes.
health concerns. Asante sana. So you said that that you just went to Kenya medical training, just you were excited. Was that the inspiration, or as you studied you got other motivation to pursue even up to PhD level?
Really, I didn't understand what I was going into.
Yeah.
Our career indications were not very well defined.
Yeah.
And therefore, when I was called to training,
Yes.
I just went there.
Yeah.
But I never regretted. Although I wish I had gone for something else higher, which then I would be regarded as a scientist or something, because we at that level were just at diploma level, and later on at advanced diploma and so on, which we struggled to get it equated
Yeah.
to a degree. So our history of education, recognition of our own profession, was a big, big challenge. And therefore, that is where in around 1978, I was an Assistant Secretary General of the AFOC,
Yeah.
and we tried to get ourselves involved at Moi University in as degree programs. Unfortunately, only two of our people were taken there. So we struggled to get ourselves into that level of a degree holder. And it took us a lot of time. Later on, we started it at Kenyatta University and Moi University. These were the first. Moi University and then Kenyatta University. These were the first universities that started teaching public health.
Yes.
And we were part of the teaching fraternity at that time. Yes.
I appreciate. On behalf of other public health officers in the country, we really appreciate the kind of sacrifice that you had to pay together with others. But how is the situation right now? Do you feel that the younger generation is still working hard to continue with the same legacy and to push even at a lower age, that at qualification level, they can be considered as scientists? Or do you feel that the curriculum needs to be changed for training so that we can match that level of being considered as a scientist?
I think it's a matter of policy, really.
Yeah.
Because we need the law cadres.
Yeah.
We need people with diplomas who will actually be the implementers in the field.
Yeah.
The degree holders, now everybody is going for a degree.
Yeah.
And everybody is going for a master's.
Yes.
Everybody is going for a PhD.
Yeah.
But the initial training of public health is the best training that addresses the needs of this country.
Yes.
So we do not need to eliminate the lower cadres.
Yes.
Because these are the implementers in the field.
Yeah.
Like in food inspection, meat inspection, pesticide control, occupational health and safety. We need that cadre. And the absence of that cadre, because everybody now is trying to go for a degree program, then we are losing our space in the local, in the rural aspects, of health.
Yeah.
And we need to be, as a profession, we need to be very careful to ensure that the gap, the vacuum we create is not filled by other.
Yeah, especially the community health promoters.
Yes.
Yeah, they can easily fill in the gap.
Yes,
so I want us to change now from that, but there's something that you said clearly, that still in public health, we need the public health technicians, we need the diploma holders, we need the degree holders, we need the masters and the PhD holders, because each of them has a particular role that they play when it comes to disease control and management. Thank you for that. Now, you know, when I was thinking about, I know you have mentioned some of the changes that have happened, but because you've seen it all, apart from being called a public health inspector to now, you know, the scientist, what other changes have taken place over the last decades when you talk about public health?
I think public health has transformed a lot through confusion and through some misunderstanding of what is actually public health. Public health is the art and the science of prevention of diseases. But when then people, the World Health Organization, started considering environment as part of public health, then environment was brought in, and many governments, including Kenya, started having DOs who are in charge of environment. And then public health shifted to environment, and there was that confusion. But public health is really the broad aspect of all, which includes housing, it includes environment, it includes noise. And you remember that in the early stages of the development of this country, the public health officer was the occupational therapist. He was the person dealing with occupational health. He was the person dealing with land planning, housing, whatever. And we were involved in everything. Approval of building plans, and so on. But when those other cadres now started, as a country developed, and they took over some of the roles, public health failed to move with the times. So they were left behind, and they were left, you know, like nobody was very clear as to the role of public health as such. And that is a dilemma
Yeah.
that as a profession we need to address.
Even as we speak, it is a dilemma.
Yes.
And
yes.
people need to move with the changing times,
Yes,
embrace technology, embrace the modernity, urbanization, and
Yes.
other changes that
Yes,
appeared.
yes,
And now
yes.
that, Stephen, you mentioned that now the emerging diseases are so many, we need to change with the times.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. So then, as a coach and as a mentor, when it comes to public health professional, there is a time you need an analysis, a TNA analysis. What can you say about that report and how public health is supposed to place themselves in the current space so that the profession cannot be obsolete?
Yes. You see, in the early 70s, the public health officer was registered under the Kenya Gazette as a public health officer with specific training. And that time we were very proud to have the Royal Society of Health from England as public health.
Wow.
All right?
And
awesome. This was for overseas appointments. So many of us who were trained at that point in time could also work in different parts of Africa.
Yeah.
Many Kenyans worked in Malawi, in Zambia, a few places with that qualification. Yes, at that time.
Yeah.
But ever since, when I looked at the TNA, one of the failures of our professional body and advice was that we never moved with time.
Yeah.
All other cadres have gone into specialization.
Yes.
And we have failed to move in that direction. There was very minimal specialization. For example, at the diploma level, a higher diploma, we had waste management, we had occupational health, we had sewerage management, and so on. But these people were not deployed in the areas of their training. So it was a waste of training, really.
Yeah.
It was just a cadre to move them from one job group to another. So now public health, according to the TNA, which you mentioned, and I was the consultant in developing that training needs assessment, I think the gap that we had is in the specialization. If we consider ourselves from our master trainers, Britain, for example, port health is a specialized training.
Yes.
It's not something anybody can do.
Yes.
Our diploma holders in port health, they are not recognized at all. So they don't play any much role because all the other departments have people with degrees, masters, and so on. So we need to specialize in port health. We need to specialize in occupational health.
Yes.
People in labor, they cannot handle the health aspects of occupational health.
Yeah.
So the public health officer has to train there. Now we have very many challenges in food safety. The food security people have penetrated the safety area. And you find that food safety is a major challenge. Now food is being vended all over. Somebody has to train and specialize in that area. There's a lot of development in technology.
Yes.
There's some rapid tests and whatever. A public health officer can be able to test for aflatoxin very easily and condemn or do something. So there are many areas. And we thought, for example, even the technician can specialize in pesticide control and controlling aflatoxin also in the rural setting and so on. So there are many windows, and we need to consider in our training areas the field of specialization. We need the lower cadres, we need the degree holders, we need the masters, and we need the PhD holders as managers, so that we can also challenge the other PhD holders in the health sector.
You can be talking from the same level.
Yes, but now we have lost that.
Yes.
All right. So we are diploma, higher diploma, and whatever. We need to move away from that. And we see that there are many opportunities for training in public health. And we are happy that many universities are now training but we don't have a strategy and structures to accommodate these different fields of specialization. Yeah, so the public health officer has remained as the jack of all trades and master of none.
Yeah.
This is something we have to address very seriously.
So it is a wake-up call. The way it is sounding is in the last decade, public health was extremely prestigious.
Yes.
And it is like it has solved most of the world's problems.
Yes.
But there is a place that we lost it.
Yes.
And it's a wake-up call. You're saying we need to have a wake-up call whereby we'll have people to specialize so that they can be able to match the needs of the society and the needs of the current modern day that we are in.
Yes.
Who is to do this, Prof?
Yes. You see, people are looking for that Afia Bora officer that existed long time ago.
Yeah.
But looking at the demographic changes, the population movement,
Yeah.
and the structures, the human structure, you cannot have that Afia Bora with that limited training and the high demands of public health now. We have climate change, we have environmental, we have new diseases, we have emerging diseases, which you mentioned. We cannot face these with our basic training. So the association, the Council of Public Health, everybody has to be involved in ensuring that we get ourselves into specializing in the different fields to match the changing global needs of public health, just like any other parts of the world.
Yes.
Yeah, addressing the emerging diseases, addressing climate change and health, addressing the changing housing structures, and so on. So it is important for us to be able to look into those areas. Yes.
No, this is really interesting to me so much because you are talking from point of information.
Yes, yes.
You've seen what used to happen and where we are now.
Yes.
And apart from that, you are traveled. Like I heard you mention that you trained in Japan.
Yes.
In other countries, our public health officers are jack of all trades, the way you just mentioned, or it is they have specialists for what is happening.
Yes, I had the opportunity to be in London, in England, for 3 months.
Yes.
And I saw the different areas of specialization long time ago when we were working with the Commonwealth. And there are people who are dealing with housing, the people dealing with animal husbandry, the people dealing with food safety, the people dealing with diseases control. They are all specialized. Port health is a specialized field. And immediately I came back, I suggested we need to change. But many people wanted to hold their positions.
Yeah.
So if we go so much specialization, they felt like they might lose their own position. So it was not appreciated at that time. But now is a bit late because we have lost a lot of ground. Many people have taken over. For example, we now have community health, which is a core function of public health, but it's a separate entity. So we have lost a lot of ground. Yes.
But I believe people can repackage themselves.
Yes.
Because of the initial background that the public health officers and technicians have, if they take the first step of repackaging themselves to meet the needs of modern day, I believe something can be done, Prof.
I believe. If,
it all starts from the mindset.
Yes.
If they think that we can change and repackage public health, all the players repackage, I believe something can be salvaged. What do you think?
Yes, it is possible, actually. Because when I wrote the TNA, I was also in the
training needs assessment.
The training needs assessment. I was in the academic area. I was in charge of Umma University, and I had offered to provide specialized training for public health to be able to get crash programs within 3 to 6 months. They can get a qualification that will make them specialize in different fields. And that can be done. That can be done still. We need to identify universities that can provide that.
And even if it is not within, we are living in a very digitalized world
Yes,
whereby
yes.
people even can access online courses.
Yes, yes.
People need just to have inner motivation just to be different, to do things differently, and
Yes.
even without even the universities are important. But before the structures are put in place, people even can do online because
Yes.
we just have to match what is happening out there. Now, still, even with the challenges that are there, Prof, do you think prevention is still valid?
You see, prevention is really the concept of primary health care. But that primary health care was well defined as a preventive aspect through the participation of the community. That the community, if the community understand health aspects properly, then they will play a major role in their own prevention of diseases. This is where we have lost it. We have come up with a community strategy. It was voluntary work. These people did not know how to exist, and so on. But we believe that if the primary health concept comes in with the proper training of the CHPs as such, who will be under supervision of public health technicians or so, they will be able to prevent diseases very well. Because that is the first level of prevention. And if we can
Community.
prevent, now people are coming into hospital, but if we prevent it at that level, we have less expenditures
Yeah.
on curative.
Wow, I like that. So you are saying if we do preventive activities at home and
Yes.
community level, we
Yes.
have even less burden in the health facilities.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
So disease burden becomes less and
Yes,
less in
yes.
terms of cost,
Yes.
time,
Yes.
and everything to do with the diseases.
Yes, it was observed that by preventing, by improving sanitation, we will save the country 27 billion shillings by simply improving on our sanitation.
Wow.
At that time, a few years ago.
Yeah.
So you can see that
Wow. So
prevention
if
has
you
an impact.
let me get it right, Prof. You are saying that it was observed. If only one intervention of proper sanitation, we will save the country. How many billions again?
27 billion. at that time.
27 billion
This is a
Kenyan
few
money.
years. Yes, yes,
Wow.
yes.
But you know, this show, Sheeri Preventionist Show, many people are watching. And
Yes,
we
yes.
talk about small doable actions
Yes.
that we can be able to do to prevent disease. If you maybe you would break it a little bit, what is this thing that people, we are talking about sanitation, proper sanitation, that can save the country? 27 billion, good
Yes,
money.
yes, yes.
Yes.
You see now, sanitation was considered as a toilet.
Yeah.
And a toilet is a place where you put your fecal. But we need to look at a toilet in a different way now. We are looking at the dignity of the people.
Yeah.
We are looking at the quality of life of the people.
Wow.
We are looking at disease prevention.
Yes.
Because if a toilet is poorly constructed and does not prevent diseases transmission, like hookworms and so on, cholera and so on, then that aspect of the toilet is not complete. So as a toilet in the initial stages was that, I believe, for example, now we are using CLTS,
Yeah.
a model that has been prepared in another place.
Yeah, maybe
Public health
you can
needs
just
to
mention
wake up.
it in full that our viewers even can Google it and
Yes,
say,
community-led sanitation.
yeah,
This is where we,
community-led sanitation.
we trigger people with disgust
Yeah.
to see how bad it is when they don't have a toilet. But we can create our own models that we feel can be much more understandable and much more practical
Yeah.
in our local situation. So our public health, in fact, sanitation is a complete area of specialization that a public health officer can train and be a master in that particular field. Yes, and there are so many now. For example, sanitation includes, if you see around, there are always the high-rise
Yeah.
These things need waste management. They need water. They need lighting. They need ventilation. Unfortunately, the public health is not there. So we need to wake up and play our big role in what is really sanitation. So when we talk of sanitation, it's really a broad aspect.
Yeah.
And now, in many countries, they have developed where they recycle waste, even urban waste.
Yeah.
They recycle. I recently went to Naivasha and they roasted very nice meat for us. And when we were eating, they say the charcoal was made from fecal. It was very nice to notice that fecal can also be charcoal recycled.
Can be reused and recycled into
useful.
Something useful.
Yes.
That is powerful. But what has caught my attention is with simple things that you've talked about, just having a functional toilet, good waste management, safe water, simple things like those, you are able to save the country a whole 27 billion.
Yes.
We are not talking about millions here.
Yes,
We are talking about billions.
Yes,
But it seems simple. Let me just be on the toilet again. It is very disheartening, like still in this country, there are people who do not have toilets. And I remember there is a time I had like a sort of campaign, and I was asking people, especially who are living in towns and cities, why should you be living in a house with 5 toilets, yet your parent back home, your uncle, is not having a toilet? Yes. Why? When you go home, you have to sleep in a hotel because your home, your rural home, doesn't have any toilet. So I think it should be a wake-up call for everybody, even as we are continuing with Sheeri Preventionist Show, to think about where we came from, apart from where we are living now. Think about where you are living. Think about our parents. Think about your uncle. Think about your auntie. Do they have a toilet? Toilet can save lives. Can save lives. You've had the kind of money. Thank you, Professor, for bringing that kind of insight.